And as I get there, I'll give a few points in terms of the kind of things I think must form our campaigns and must form our deliverables as a team on this side of opposition. But I'll also be sharing how to deliver them. I have taken a lot of time. As I've been silent, wakati nimekuwa nimenyamaza, ni vizuri niseme, nimekuwa nikiangalia nchi yetu ya Kenya in all the sectors. And I have actually seen manifesto. We have had this word many times. I have had an opportunity to be at a place I'm serving Kenya where I had the bird's eye of Kenya across all the sectors. So I have taken time to scroll through every sector. What is it that we can do to the people of Kenya? What is it that we can do in every sector? So that after next year, August, Kenya becomes a much better country than even where President Mwai Kibaki left. And as I say this, allow me to say for those who are watching us for the first time and hearing maybe about Kiharu for the first time. Kiharu constituency, which I represent, is a very vast constituency. In fact, our two neighbors are smaller than Kiharu in all respects. Landmass, number of voters, landmass. Number of voters, landmass, number of schools, across all respects. And I am very glad to stand here as Member of Parliament for Kiharu, serving my second term, because we have been able to transform many things across the education sector. And I'll name just two. Being a vast rural constituency, we have many schools, public primary schools. We have actually around 120 public primary schools in Kiharu. And I want to confirm here to the people of Kenya that all our public primary schools, the one we got, the ones we have built, children in a rural constituency like Kiharu, they go to school where all classrooms are tiled. Na sio tiles peke yake, ni kutengeneza shule inakuwa shule mzuri, over and above building the new ones that we have done. There is also another program we have done of landscaping our schools. We have currently done capital to 75 schools across Kiharu. In fact, many times people do weddings in Kiharu, wanaitaka kupigiwa picha, photo session, in our public primary schools. Jambo la pili ningetaka nitaje, tuko na shule 65, shule za secondary, day secondary schools. And we have around 12,000 learners in those schools. We have a program we run called Kiharu Masomo Bora. And I want to confirm to Kenyans that fees across Kiharu in all our public day schools, fees is only 500 shillings per term. And learners eat in school, and they actually eat chapati every last Friday of the month. Na sio ile ya machini, hii ni chapati kabisa. And that is my entry point. Because allow me, my friends and Kenyans, because later I'll be giving crystal clear where I'll start politically and my participation. The few points I want to give is about what is the foundation of me doing what I'll be doing. What are my expectations insofar as the people of Kenya are concerned? And that is why that issue of education is my entry point. I believe as I stand here today, as we will hold hands with all Kenyans to deliver Kenya next year in August, we have done it in Kiharu to show that education can actually be reformed without necessarily adding taxes to Kenyans. By just reconfiguring the resources that we have. And in the education sector, these are my expectations, together with the people on the opposition side, whom will be seeking an opportunity to deliver Kenya next year. On the education sector, and I'll be giving just a summary. We start from ECD. I know it's a devolved function. The points I'll be giving, some may require changes in law. Others may require just an executive direction. Others just funding. So I'll give them knowing that some may actually require changes in our laws. ECD, as it is in Kenya, we have to change it from next year. We have to change it and have our ECD trainers and teachers either at a TSC or a TSC equivalent. I believe this is possible so that we have a body that is looking at the welfare of all ECD teachers, from hiring to transfers to the remuneration arena. The second thing is on secondary schools. We have demonstrated it is doable. I want to confirm to Kenyans, the team I belong into, and the people we are going to hold hands with, we must, from January of 2028, deliver free basic education, and that will be free. And we start that with our senior secondary schools. Of the 3.5 million Kenyans and learners in our senior secondary schools, we only require an additional 35 billion Kenya shillings. My proposal is as follows: that NGCDF will contribute 10 billion shillings into that kitty. The equitable share of our counties, because they also give bursaries, they also contribute 10 billion Kenya shillings. And the third issue is that the national government to give in 15 billion Kenya shillings. 35 billion Kenya shillings is enough to give all school-going learners in our senior secondary schools free education, including meals. The other thing, as we look into that, is that we also must diversify the menus in our schools so that our schools become also centers of markets of our produce in our villages. Kama unatoka pahali Muthokoi iko, kama unatoka pahali kwa Githeri, pahali kwa Matoke, it is important that we incorporate even those kind of menus into our schools so that even farmers in our villages can find that as a local marketplace to sell their produce. Na wale wanatutazama wazazi wetu, mimi nasema ya kwamba nimeangazia na nimechukua Kenya mzima na nikaangalia fedha tuko nazo, na zile mbinu napeana leo ni vitu tunaweza fanya bila kuongeza kodi kwa Wakenya. Na ndio nimesema next year lazima tukikomboa Kenya in the January of 2028, lazima Kenya ipee watoto wa Kenya masomo bila malipo, tukianza na senior secondary schools, wasome bila malipo yoyote na wakuwe wanakula shule. Na nimefanya hiyo mahesabu na najua kwenye pesa itatoka. In our universities, we have a challenge. Mimi nimepata fursa, nimeitwa na university students, na nimeweza kuona ya kwamba the demographics are changing. Wale wanasoma kama sisi kutoka familia hazijiwezi, nimeona ni gumu sana, kwa sababu nimeitwa na university students engineering, nimeenda kwa madaktari, na nikaona iko shida kubwa sana ya watu kutoka day schools, wanafunzi kutoka familia zile ziko chini sana kupata nafasi ya kufanya kozi kama hizo. Pia hapo kuna jambo tumefanya, ni vile tunapeana summary. The second thing, and I want to finish first with social response, because there are two things that are important, which are social investments. One is education, the other one is health. Education adds value to a human being, and health services labor, and the provider of labor is a human being. On the side of health, mambo ni mawili nimeona yale changamoto kubwa. Changamoto ya kwanza ni sisi viongozi tumeingilia mfumo ya healthcare. Unapata kama system ambayo ina manage healthcare ya Wakenya wenyewe ni wenye tu wanaongoza nchi. Jambo ya kwanza, system kama hiyo ya IT, it must be owned by the government of Kenya. Jambo la pili, na hiyo ni changamoto kubwa, and I said I'm mixing language, is the issue of funding. I have looked at the amount of money we collect in our healthcare system, in whatever name you call it, the previous one of NHIF and the current one. And whatever we say, whatever we promise, the point of the matter is that there is a funding gap. And my proposal is as follows, that starting the year 2028, the amount of money Kenyans are contributing into NSSF, ili ya pensions, ya retirement, we have that percentage. We reduce it by 50%. That extra 50% reduction goes into healthcare, and that will add into our healthcare system an extra 40 billion shillings, ambayo itapea wa Kenya afya mwafaka na yenye hawatakuwa wanarudi kwa mfuko kulipa. Many families have been ravaged by bills. As much as we are talking as leaders, we must provide practical solutions, and that is my practical solution. Within the same kitty of around 40 billion additional, it is enough money to take care adequately of all emergencies that meet Kenyan families, and also the chronic illnesses that are reducing many families into beggars. Hiyo pesa inaweza kufanya hiyo kazi. Na jambo lingine katika healthcare, the same money is enough to upgrade enough institutions here in Kenya, healthcare institutions, so that we can bring India here into Kenya instead of Kenyans going to India. And we'll be transforming these institutions so that they serve Kenyans in the region also. The last thing I want to give in terms of healthcare, I have interacted with many doctors, and I have interacted with many healthcare professionals. Dear Kenyans, we must bite the bullet. It is clear that Kenya is ripe. Again, I give an example for an equivalent of TSC. Even in healthcare, Kenya must have the Kenya Doctors and Healthcare Workers Commission that will be managing the affairs of our doctors and healthcare workers. And I am saying this knowing that it is a default function. But laws are made for the man, not man for the law. You can imagine now that a doctor in Nyamira, if they get married in Kwale, they have to quit their job in Nyamira and seek a fresh job at the other place. If we have a national platform to manage our healthcare workers, this will be a good opportunity, first of all, to harmonize. Number two, also, to ease also their welfare in terms of transfers. And so that also, we have a united front when it comes to staffing of our healthcare facilities. The other issue I want to give, which have really troubled my mind, is the issue of jobs. The other day, I got a committee from one of the churches in my office. And they were coming to invite me for a function, a church function. There were two ladies in that committee. And just during the introduction, one lady even cried, even before they told me what the agenda of the meeting, why they had come to my office. Because the lady has a son who is a doctor, who is doing vibarua. The other lady in the same meeting has a pharmacist, also unemployed. Every Kenyan watching us tonight, all families, most of them are having a challenge of people who have gone to school, they are willing and able, but our country cannot provide an opportunity for them to work. Dear leaders and Kenyans, this has to change. And I'll give a few areas. I'll just give a few. One is that all the economies of the world that we study, from Singapore that we all hear about, I know you are almost laughing, to South Korea, to China, and all these countries, the basis of growth which creates a synergetic movement in the economy is manufacturing. We have to deliberately grow our manufacturing sector to secure jobs for the young people of Kenya. And in this respect, you cannot talk about manufacturing without talking about the cost of power. And that is why, in terms of manufacturing, the proposals I have come with are domiciled, number one, around getting power adequate in Kenya, but also cheap. One is that we have to totally liberalize power sector. And the kind of lip service we are hearing from government is not enough. Liberalization has to happen. If an industry can produce their power to use, and they have access to sell, they must be at liberty to sell it to the next factory. So that we have as many producers of energy as possible, because abundance brings forth lower prices. The second thing in terms of bringing the cost of power down in Kenya, we have an institution called KenGen, majority owned by the people of Kenya through the government. The current valuation of KenGen is around 75 billion Kenya shillings. Yet it is a company that produces roughly 2,000 megawatts of power. An equivalent of KenGen in other economies is valued more than 450 billion Kenya shillings. Just to cite like two, Transport Power in Nigeria, Geregu Power in Nigeria. Currently there is a transaction ongoing in Philippines, a country called EDC, producing less than KenGen, yet the valuation is $5 billion US. What am I proposing? That immediately, and I'm talking about early 2028,